You're watching Griffon Sports Insider, presented by Spine and Sport Physical Therapy. Now, here are your hosts, Brett Esely and Ryan Menley.
Love at first sight, right?
No.
No, definitely was not.
If you don't want to fight, then I'm right.
Well, love is in the air. It's couples week on GSI. No, we don't need to look very far to find them either.
She's not my boss.
This Valentine's week, we're talking matters of the Missouri Western heart collectively.
I received a watch for my anniversary this year.
I thought it was a appropriate gift.
We're also talking diamonds and long-term commitments.
Hopefully we've achieved that with the kids we've signed.
Football and soccer sign their future stars, while baseball and softball put their current teams to work. It's not all warm and fuzzy, though. Basketball continues to get no love on the road.
I got it.
Well, don't yell at me. I'm not yelling at you.
Well, hey, mellow out, grab a date, or just stalk your crush, because GSI starts right now.
Try to separate them.
Hello and welcome. Ryan Menley, Brett Esely. Guess you're my date for the day.
It is, and I'm not a cheap date either, by the way. I expect steak and lobster and the whole works.
It's very disappointing
Wine,
anyway.
no.
And you know what? We don't match up well size-wise.
And I don't look good in heels either.
No. Before we get to the warm and fuzzies, we begin with basketball, where hopefully there's no place like home this week.
Let's hope so. Home has been kind to Griffon men's and women's basketball. The Griffons have Wednesday off. They're back in action this Saturday in the Fieldhouse against Missouri Southern. Both the men and women fighting for their postseason lives after going 0-2 last week.
Yeah, let's take a look back on a rough two-game stretch. Men first. Wednesday, Brett Weiberg getting his first taste of Maryville. The Missouri Western men taking on Ben McCollum in Northwest Missouri State. The Bearcats first place in the MIAA. Let us count the reasons. Well, one, they can hit from outside, and two, they can hit from inside. And Northwest builds a 45-28 halftime lead. Second half, things get worse. Western's lone big man, Charlie Marquardt, on the bench with a sprained ankle. The Griffons had no answer down low in the post. Northwest by 26 at this point. They shot 57% from the field, and they clamped down on the Griffon D all night. Ryan Devers called for the charge here. Trez Colbert had 18 points for Western, but that was the lone bright spot for the Griffs. Well, how bad was it? Well, Brett Weiberg got the first technical of his Griffon tenure as the first place Bearcats handled the Griffons 92-64, the final. Saturday in St. Charles, Missouri Western taking on the Lindenwood Lions. Armadillos, no extra charge. The Lions beat the Griffons in St. Joe 7 days earlier, and this would be a repeat of history, only worse. Darius Smith doing whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, helps the Lions take a 40-32 lead at the break. Western's Trez Colbert had himself a night. He could not be stopped. The junior had a career-high 30 points on 11 of 19 shooting. The only problem, the Griffons could not stop the Lions from anywhere on the floor. Defense continues to be a problem. Smith, who had 24 against the Griffons a week ago, had 28 on this day on 10 of 10 shooting. The Lions shot 61% from the floor, and they go on to roll Missouri Western 93-73 the final. The Griffons remain winless on the road in the MIAA.
I know we're small, but if we can get 5 guys at the same time, to play together on the floor, on the defensive end, I think we would have, give ourselves a better chance of getting stops.
Yeah, we're not good defensively, and probably the biggest concern is just the effort. And we have to, we have some issues personnel-wise, but there should never be an issue with effort. So hopefully we'll try to correct that between now and Saturday.
The Griffon men 9-13 overall, 4-10 in MIAA play. The Griffon women with almost an identical record, 4-10 in the MIAA, 9-12 overall after going 0-2 last week. Wednesday rivalry night in Maryville. This definitely hostile territory. Missouri Western women in an ugly, grinded-out, low-scoring affair with Northwest. This one going back and forth all night. Second half, Tiffany Abrams had the only semi-hot hand for the Griffs. 2 of her team had 13 points. Western up 36-33 with 5 minutes to play, but no team really grabbed the momentum. Just traded buckets. Northwest's Esely Nelson coming through the back door. Bearcats up 1 with 3 minutes remaining. Skip ahead, under a minute to play. Western down 3, trying for the tie, but Charnice Lewis not even close. The Griffons shot just 31% on the night, and they fall 50-44. This a tough loss for the black and gold. Saturday takes us to Eastern Missouri. The Griffon women taking on Lindenwood. Rob Edmondson wired up.
That's a spontaneous cheer. Keep going to the boards. You're doing a good job on the boards. Look how they're just shoving her off. Yeah, but plain as day. She just shoving her.
Coach, I got it.
Well, don't yell at me. I'm not yelling at you. Am I yelling at you? Why is an official angry?
Well, Lindenwood has reason to be angry. They lost in St. Joe a week ago and out for revenge 7 days later. Griffins down 5 early second half. Alex Saxon changes that, switches the 3 to make it a 2-point game. Coach Ed still trying to solve the refs.
If I can't say anything, I won't.
No.
I just need to know what my boundaries are.
I make my call and then I can talk to you.
Well, but what I'm saying was no one had the ball.
Yeah, when I called it, they both had the ball.
Okay, but back to my point. Can I say anything? If I'm not, I won't.
You can talk to me.
Hey, Edmondson likes to talk defense, but the Lions found a way to solve that Saturday. Jenny Roca in the transition knocks down the tough shot. Western would be down as many as 12 with 6 minutes to play, but they make a run. Kristen Crawford, 3 of her 11 points, then more from Saxon, 1 of her 4 triples. She had a season-high 14 points. Griffs would get to within 3 with 4 minutes to play, but Lindenwood just stopped missing. They screened and cut the Griffins to death. The Lions shot 55% from the floor, and they get the week later revenge win on the Griffins, 72-60, the final.
So we've got a little bit of a double whammy. Not only are we physically getting tired, but emotionally we're tired. So this week we'll cut practice off a day or 2 and get back in the middle of the week and get ready for Saturday. And hopefully our kids can continue to have the wherewithal to do what we've done so far, which is win games at home. And that's what we got to do. We still got to win games at home.
Both Griffin teams will try to get back on the winning track. They host Missouri Southern this Saturday. The Griffins were swept by the Lions in Joplin last month. The men suffered a 35-point loss. Their worst of the season. The women lost by 15. But these Griffins, much different teams at home this season for whatever reason.
And there'll be good games at home. We will give Missouri Southern a game. I think we have a decent chance to win both games. And you know what? A lot going on this Saturday as well. It's WBCA Pink Out Day for women's basketball, Coaches Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we're also allowing all Boy Scouts and youth basketball players in the area to come to the game free of charge as long as they got their uniform top on. So lots going on. Hope to have a big crowd on Saturday.
1:30, 3:30 this Saturday, and much more to talk about straight ahead. Baseball and softball are officially underway. We'll look back at opening day on the diamond, and we're talking diamonds of a different sort with our Griffon Sports couples. That story later on.
St. Joe's really produced quite a few professional athletes in the last few years. One thing they all have in common is they've all walked through our doors here at Spine and Sport.
I've done stuff that I've never done at any other physical therapy place, and I've been to a lot of physical therapists.
I recommend Spine and Sport because of Fred. He has a passion for his athletes.
I would recommend Spine and Sport to anybody from your average athlete to your professional athlete.
Train like the pros at Spine and Sport.
The most helpful physical therapists in the world on dodgeball.
You'll never know when three-dimensional flexibility will come in handy. Stay healthy, my friends.
Look around and you'll see many unfamiliar faces.
Well, it is primarily a new team compared to last season.
A year ago at this time, Missouri Western baseball was beginning its greatest season in school history. When the smoke cleared, more than a dozen records were set in the midst of a 40-win season and a first-ever MIAA conference championship.
That was a special team and a difficult team to replace.
But the key cogs in that dream season are gone. Brandon Simmons, the MIAA Conference Pitcher of the Year, graduated. Shortstop Michael Schultz, the Division II National Player of the Year, drafted to the St. Louis Cardinals. And third baseman Grant Fink, Missouri Western's career home run king, drafted to the Cleveland Indians. In fact, only 2 starters returned from 2013, outfielder David Chu and catcher Jake Schrader.
Yeah, you know, it's tough because as a returner, there's so many new faces and everything like that.
To keep the same caliber of play and high-level play, you have to be a hard-working team, but this team is.
Talent's there. The talent will be there. We're dirt dogs.
But they bring with them an entirely different identity.
We're going to win a little bit differently, I think.
The 2013 Griffs smashed a school record 63 home runs and averaged 8 runs per game. The 2014 Griffs look to replace power with speed.
Everybody's fast. Everybody likes to run.
We're going to rely more on small ball and a little bit more strategic as far as bunting and moving guys over.
And rely on a talented group of arms to carry the load.
Our pitching staff is just as strong.
Jaron Hawkins, you know, one, he's a competitor. high-level competitor. I mean, not just say it, but he actually does it. He lives it. He believes in it. Mason Queen, Jake Jones, and Mark Spreckles. So those are going to be kind of the forceful guys that we'll have that will begin from the get-go to try to really establish the pitching staff where we want it to go. And then the core of what we have relief-wise is the part that I'm really excited about.
There's a target on our back, but at the same time, we don't talk about it because we're really not worried about it. We're going to go out there and compete every game, and we're going to win games by pitching and playing defense, and our offense will be there.
Success to me would be getting to that regional again. You know, I want to win the playoffs, win the league again, and I think this team can do it for sure.
They are going to go in prepared, and they are going to go in with the mindset that they outworked everybody. And you know, there's a lot to be said for that.
Welcome back. Griffon baseball opened the 2014 season last weekend in Arkansas, splitting a pair of games at Arkansas Tech. The bad weather, though, followed them south.
Boy, they did. Baseball, softball, it's time to play. Supposed to be a 4-game series, but 2 inches of snow canceled the first 2 games. Griffons won the opener 6-2 thanks to 2 Jake Schrader home runs, but dropped game 2 7-3. They return to action with the home opener. Let's have some warm weather and melt that snow. February 21st against Northeastern State. Meanwhile, Griffon's softball is off to a 2-2 start this season. They also fought snow to sneak in 4 games of their scheduled 6 games last weekend in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, in the Hurry Up Classic, fitting name. They are back in the natural state this weekend for the 8-state Classic in Bentonville. They've added some more states to that event over the last couple of years. Griffons are scheduled for 6 games, and the tournament begins on Friday. Well, they call it God's country on the Monterey Peninsula. And how about Griffon golf alum Bryce Garnett at his best finish on the PGA Tour, tied for 19th at the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am. Sunday, he played with Dustin Johnson. That's a household name on the PGA Tour. And also, it's a Pro-Am, and Dustin Johnson's am partner?
Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
How about that? That's not bad. Also had a nice payday there.
Yeah, about 71 grand. Well. It's a rough life for Bryce Garnett.
Somebody's got to do it. I don't know how he does it.
Coming up, we're talking football signing day. We'll hear from head coach Jerry Partridge and his class of 2014. And still ahead, a Valentine's Day treat, Missouri Western style. GSI, back after this.
I am a physical therapist. My job is to lend a hand, or unlock a leg, fix a foot, stretch you to the limit. No matter the injury, I have got your back. I'm Brent Colgan. This is Spine and Sport.
Sometimes I wonder if Elvis had hip pain. And if he did, I know I could have fixed it. And if I did, he'd still be alive today.
Stick 'em, ha ha ha, stick 'em. Stick 'em, ha ha ha, stick 'em. Gonna put the beat.
Bo, I'm curious, your thoughts on these 27 new Griffon student athletes we welcome into the class today. Well, you already get it. Well, Bo, need a closing parting shot. What's going to come from this class and then as we head into 2014?
Total pain.
Well, you know, Bo doesn't talk much this time of year. He came out of hibernation. But you know, he wanted to wish total pain on somebody. Good month to do it. And you know he'll be on his game once September rolls around. A lot to be excited about.
And when Bo's excited about National Signing Day, it's a good thing. That took place last week. The Griffons with 27 signees to the class of 2014. 14 on offense, 13 on defense, 19 from the state of Missouri. It breaks down like this. The class very heavy on the trenches with 7 offensive linemen, 7 defensive linemen, and you'll see all the names on the screen as Coach Jerry Partridge breaks it all down.
You're always trying to make sure that you're depthed up. That's not a word, but depth up. I like to say the word I've created. But both sides of the ball. You want more and more big bodies in there that run well. I think probably, you know, I don't know, about 2 years ago, I don't think we had great depth, even though it's a great O-line. But I don't know if we've had the great O-line depth we need to have here for the last 2 or 3 years, and that's been a constant, you know, pain in our side. And hopefully we've achieved that with the kids we've signed. I think we improved our O-line depth overall. We've got 5 kids that were high school kids that we feel like are going to be guys that are future players. 2 JUCO O-linemen that we think can come and help us next year. We've got 3 D tackles, 2 D ends. We're a pretty well-rounded group where we got them about every position, maybe with the exception of quarterback, punter, kicker. We didn't get any of those. We signed 1 linebacker. That's all we wanted to do, and we got probably the kid that's the most athletic of all of them. Very good skill group. 3 guys that are receivers, 3 that are DBs. Probably 2 or 3 of those DBs could be receivers. And 2 very good running backs. So overall, we feel very good about the group. Has a little bit of a local flair as we usually do. Heavily involved in Kansas City and St. Louis as usual. Got a couple Iowa guys. Got a good junior college receiver up in Iowa that we feel like can come in and contribute pretty quick. I got asked several times, how do you feel about today? How, you just never know until 2 or 3 years from now. And I think that our program has stood the test of time. That usually the class ends up pretty good and end up pretty good players.
Backbiters, tell them that God's gonna cut you down.
I met Gerald in 2010. He came to me after an injury he sustained in Afghanistan back in 2008. And he described to me as he was in his Humvee and got blown up by a roadside bomb, and that he broke his back, he broke his hip, separated his shoulder. Working with a Special Forces soldier, to think about the demands that he's got to go through. It's a whole nother concept of training like the pros.
So I've had really good progress. But it's been amazing, especially coming up here, working, utilizing the pool for the buoyancy factor, especially at the beginning, to kind of help the actual healing process. I've kind of transitioned from actual mobility to stability, and lately onto strength and resistance and cardiovascular training.
And it took him 2 years and multiple surgeries, but it was fun to see him go from broken to back in the Special Forces doing what he does best, and that's serving the country. And he was a great inspiration to all of us to see him go through that transformation.
I heard you got engaged this spring.
Yes, I got engaged this spring.
Really? Who's the lucky person?
In January.
Oh, excuse me. Who's the lucky person?
Jim Bagley.
Every so often you find love in the workplace. We have that situation, and it's on steroids in Griffon Nation. 5 couples, 4 of them married, 1 of them engaged to be married, all part of the Missouri Western Athletic Department. Let's meet them.
Tom Smith, ex-basketball coach, new women's tennis coach.
Patsy Smith, Senior Associate Athletic Director and Senior Woman Administrator.
Married July 24th, 1998.
Greg Carbon, Strength and Conditioning.
Marion Carbon, Head Volleyball Coach.
And we were married June 14th, 2008.
Trevor Berniking, Director of Athletic Media Relations.
Mandy Berniking, the Assistant Softball Coach.
Married June 11th, 2011.
Reggie Trotter, Defensive Coordinator.
Jen Trotter, Head Softball Coach.
We were married December 31st, 2012.
Aaron Coombs, Men's Basketball Assistant.
Signe Mueller, Assistant Volleyball.
And we're getting married July 27th, 2014.
Well, now that we know who's married to who and who's going to be married to who, we'll get all 10 of you together now and talk relationships. And let's get something very clear first. There is no nepotism because none of you guys answer to the other. In fact, actually there might be one exception to that. Patsy Smith, you're the Associate AD, so I think we all technically answer to you, including your husband.
She's not my boss. Anywhere, any place.
Let's go there. Let's pull off the scabs. Let's say you had a big fight at home and you come to work and you got to see your spouse at work, so there's no cooling off time. How do you guys handle that?
Well, Mandy and I are lucky because we're in separate buildings. Now, Jen and Reggie, they're right down the hall from each other.
But I can also choose not to see each other.
We've been together almost 2 years and we've never had a fight.
Good
Gasps.
for you. Lucky you.
Wow.
Lucky you.
Very mate-centered.
Again, the only unmarried couple in the group.
Everyone says this, but you know.
We'll revisit that once the marriage takes place and the honeymoon ends.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, the follow-up.
All right, show of hands. How many of you are exactly alike? No one. All right, I guess it's true. Opposites do attract. Give me some examples.
Reggie doesn't like to camp. I grew up knowing how to put a pack in a tree because of bears, so a little different.
If I want to see a bear, I'll go to the zoo. That's not me.
Who has the dominant personality in the relationship? Of course.
She's...
What am I? What? He's much better at just saying, okay, and letting stuff go, whereas I tend to try to win.
For me, it's one of those things where she wants to disagree with me. I'm fine with that because,
Which is,
you know, it's like,
so
yeah,
maddening.
and that's just the way it's gonna be.
It's harder for me though because my argument is very analytical and logical, and so when he doesn't understand it, then it's very frustrating.
Here's the thing. So what I do,
Hey, it sounds
when
like
we
Greg
get
and
to
I
that
are in the
point,
same spot.
I ask her, I was like, "You want to fight?" And she says, "No." So I'm right. She doesn't want to fight. If you don't want to fight, then I'm right.
Mandy, I don't see you ever losing an argument with Trevor.
I guess I like to have control. I'm a controlling personality, I'll just be honest with
Everybody agree with that?
I do.
And since all of you here are either coaches or married to a coach, how do you deal with a spouse after they lost?
There were times when I just listened. There were times when I had to yell at him because the attitude he was coming from just wasn't going to cut it.
There were distinctly 2 years that I was ready to, you know, not throw in the towel, but I was really down on my group and did not think we were going to have a particularly great year. And 1 year we came back and went 16-2 in the league and won the league, and obviously went to, and it was one that she had gotten mad at me and jumped me about the players and how good they were and everything else. And thank goodness she did.
If it's make her a cup of green tea or a massager or something, whatever it is, you know.
Again, you can tell who's not married. Trevor, do you do green tea and massage for Mandy after a softball toss?
No.
I run the other way.
All right, what's the one thing that drives you the craziest about your spouse?
Time management.
Lack of initiative.
End of our bed, I have this chest that was my mother's, and he calls it his closet. All of his clothes are laying on it all the time. I'm like, okay, nothing's getting washed unless it's in the laundry, and he doesn't care. He just would let it pile up forever. I can't see the TV over the top of the clothes.
Where it belongs. I can't.
We're the most competitive when we're competing against each other. You know, so on one of our very first dates, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings and played trivia.
And I won. Just for the record.
Set the tone. She did. She set the tone. But
so she's smarter than you?
Yes.
No, because I got the better grade in our grad class last semester.
I helped him through that.
You know, but we let the other person know, you know, that, hey, I won.
I'm gonna go back to what my wife said, time management. I have time management. Now,
it's on your own time.
Yeah, there's no question. On my time, for sure. Now, my time and her time different. Now, fortunately enough for me, I received a watch for my anniversary this year.
I thought it was an appropriate gift.
And so now it's not on.
Now, let's bring this back to the warm fuzzies. Tell me when you knew they were the one. Go.
When Mandy jumped through hoops to get to my brother's wedding.
It was one of the first times we were hanging out with the kids, and the kids liked it.
Sitting in the stands and watching him with his players and seeing him put his arm around them and them put their arm around him and the interaction between them, just, it got me.
First time we went out with a mutual friend, and I sat directly across from her, and there happened to be a TV right behind her, and I kept staring at her, because I was like, she's so beautiful, and every time she looked my way, I'd look up at the TV, you know, just but, you know, she was always so easy to talk to.
Greg and Marion, you guys are unique in the fact that everybody here met at work, but you guys met when you were both student athletes at Missouri Western, and you were set up by your friends. Greg, it took you a year to make a move after you knew she liked you.
I found her in a cafeteria one day.
It was really embarrassing.
It was
like a really awkward, like, reconnect, but.
Yeah.
And you were just like, I heard you like me, here's my number.
You know what? I don't even know what I said, but I don't know.
I think he just asked for my number or something.
So it was a junior high move.
Yeah, it totally was. As sophomores in college. It was really awkward.
You guys obviously wouldn't be together if it weren't for this place. What does Missouri Western mean to all of you?
As I look back, two things. I was fortunate to stay and I have a lot of great teams, and I wouldn't have met Patsy if I hadn't stayed here. That's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me.
It'd be very difficult to leave here and to have something different for the two of us because we're able to spend so much time together.
For me, Western will always be the place that gave me my first shot to be a head coach. It'll always be the place that I met my husband. And it'll always be the place that I now have a husband and a family and a head coaching job. So it'll always be special to me for that reason.
My wedding ring is actually black and gold. And, you know, Missouri Western played a part in the reason why God chose this school for the both of us.
Well, there's actually a sixth Missouri Western couple, and we didn't get them on there because one of them doesn't work here anymore, but that's so sweet. Brett Esely, Kate Esely.
Bring your wife to GSI Day.
It is bring your wife to GSI Day. I'm glad you're honored.
Thank you.
Does he drive you nuts like he drives me nuts on air? Brett's our associate athletic director, started as a student, and then you were a graduate assistant for Missouri Western basketball. Kate, you're at Heartland now, but for the first part of your life, you were at Missouri Western as an athletic trainer, and that's how you guys met.
Yep.
What year?
2001, working Coach Smith basketball camp. Brett came into the training room because he had got a boo-boo and needed a Band-Aid.
It's right there.
First aid?
First date, Rob Calloway fight.
A lot of our dates centered around Rob Calloway fights.
How'd that go over?
And not very well.
She didn't talk to you?
Really didn't. She was with her sister. She didn't talk to me either.
She dumped you, right?
She did. She dumped me, and that's probably a little unique to the other 5 couples, as I was dumped.
I would have dumped you after a Rob Calloway fight for the first date.
Yes.
Second date maybe, but not the first date. Married when? Married what year?
June of 2005. Happily ever after.
You know, funny thing is, I always said I'd never get married. I always said I'd never buy a house, and I always said I would never have kids. Well,
that's my life right now.
And I'm glad that I completely went against that for sure.
What's been your most epic shouting match? Because I could see you two just get into it, knock down, drag out, like throw the kitchen tables across the way.
I think there were some times
we've had some of those. I mean, she's gotten in the car and driven away for a while and come back just to cool off.
The fact that you guys met here, started your relationship here, and were married when you both were working here.
I think it means a lot to us. Both of us graduated from here, we're alum, and we take a great pride in the institution.
Well, I think it's home, number one. I think, you know, did I ever think I'd be here 14 years? I think I'd meet my wife and my children would be here. I don't know that I did. I think way back when I was just looking for a job, but, you know, it's a special.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I'd actually rather see you here every week than the other Esely that's here.
Sure.
A lot easier on the eyes.
Well, everybody else has segments on the show. Why not you?
A lot of love in this building.
Bring the kisses.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
No, sir.
All right, we're here with Michelle from the softball team to talk about footwork. You know, fielding drills, we want to make sure that we develop footwork so the feet are talking to the hips at all times. So we're going to demonstrate a hurdle drill here. Michelle's going to get into place here. We got 3 hurdles, and she's going to go 2 feet in, 1 foot out, go. And what she's doing is she lands, she's working on the cut, and then she comes back, she loads that hip, and then explodes out of it. Excellent drill to work on footwork and how to get the foot to talk to the hip. So now what we're going to do, as Michelle comes to a stop and catches her breath here, we're going to add the ball, and we're going to get specific on fielding because Michelle's got to be able to get down low enough to field, especially playing second base. Got to get to that ball hit up hard up the middle, prevent that base hit. So here she goes, she's going to start, but we got the ball coming there, she fields it, she comes down, and she gets down low enough, but she's still working on that footwork in those hurdles. Excellent job, Michelle. That right there is a footwork drill because we want to be fast, we want to be quick, we want to play good defense, but we also want to prevent injuries. We want those feet to talk to those hips. That's training like the pros at Spine and Sport.
Thanks to Fred Schunkweiler for Train Like the Pros. We're out of time for this week.
Hey, enjoy your Valentine's Day. Go find a date. Wear pink on Saturday. And as always, go Griffs.
Try to find one. I always say no.